showroom is at Uniafric House, Koinange off Koinange Street. We are passionate believers in locally manufactured goods. When you and I buy locally made furniture, we impact on the livelihoods of our brothers and sisters. For orders, visit our showroom at Uniafric House, Koinange off Koinange Street. Beacon Furnitures Limited. Jenga Kenya, tupate ajira.
Good afternoon. Thank you for creating time for us. This is KBC. A very warm welcome to the Lunchtime News. My name is Irene Muchuma. On sign language interpretation this afternoon, we have Lensa Odingo. Do interact with us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1, on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter on this day that politics continue to take center stage across the country. This as President Uhuru Kenyatta is in the coastal region this afternoon, and this hour he has officially opened a health conference in the county of Mombasa, bringing together health stakeholders in support of UHC. But now we begin with the security concerns. Leaders in Samburu have raised concern over rising insecurity cases among the neighboring communities. High tension has been reported at Pura area in Samburu Central Sub-County, with residents living in fear of retaliatory attacks. 4 people, including 2 police officers, were shot dead in 3 separate attack incidences in the area since December. Samburu County leaders and heads of security organs engaged residents from both Samburu and Pokot communities for a peace meeting at Pura Livestock Market in order to stop the attacks.
Na kama kiongozi, hata kama uko na uchungu kiasi gani, na ninajua sasa ni wakati ya kura, watu wanaomba kura, tafadhali usijiombee kura na damu ya watu wengine. Afadhali tu uombe kura. Some of us were elected on a peace platform, so it is possible.
So ni mzuri sana, tunashukuru kwa mambo ya amani, lakini ile mikora iko ndani yetu ni lazima washughulikiwe kisheria, sio kununua bunduki na kuuana.
Serikali tunajua vile utakamata wewe. Ole wako usilete bunduki pande ya Samburu sasa. Tukileta hapa disarmament, nyinyi mtalia mpaka mtapiga magoti.
Kajiado County Commissioner Joshua Nkanatha has assured education stakeholders that the transition of students from primary to junior high schools will be smooth as the government moves with speed into construct new classes in preparation of the transition. According to Nkanatha, the county was allocated funds for 71 new CBC classes in different schools, 67 of which are almost complete.
Kajiado County Commissioner Joshua Nkanatha said all students joining junior high school will get a chance either in the newly constructed classes or extra classes that exist in identified public schools.
So we want to ask all the chiefs and assistant chiefs to ensure that classrooms which are under construction in their areas of jurisdiction, it is upon them to ensure that they are completed on time.
Nkanatha further issued a stern warning to those sabotaging government projects of dire consequences, especially now that the country is headed towards an electioneering period.
Hiyo tumesema rasmi ikome. Na jana tumekubaliana na maafisa wetu wa polisi wote, ukipatikana na vitu na machuma umeiba katika miradi yoyote, kutoa miradi yote ya serikali, utachukuliwa hatua kulingana na sheria.
The local administration has also been urged to put all necessary measures in place to ensure students supposed to sit their national examinations this year do so. Yusufar reporting for Lunchtime News.
Now, Kajiado North Member of Parliament Joseph Manje has warned parents from marrying off girls at the young age and instead allow them pursue their education. Speaking while donating food to the beloved Daughters Rescue Center in Kibiko, Manje noted that more girls have failed to go to school due to negative cultural vices still being practiced.
This is one of the culture that we want to stop from this area. Parents, make sure that we don't do that. We bring our children at a good environment. Let them have sanctuaries which are home. Respect them. Old men respect young girls. They should not be engaged to men at early ages.
To our community, we have already won this card, and I proudly want to say that we are winners. And we are not going to practice this, and my girls will always be powerful beyond measures, and nothing will ever stop them from their no.
Women aspiring to vie for political positions in the upcoming general election have been urged to prioritize their own safety during the electioneering period. Women aspirants from 14 pastoral counties benefited from a forum held in Iteso County by the Samburu Women Trust aimed at equipping them with basic legal and technical knowledge on how to successfully navigate through the electoral period.
Speaking in Isiolo, Executive Director of Samburu Women Trust, Jen Naini, said the forum is important for them as they are taken through basic safety measures and how to conduct themselves as they seek voter support.
Hivyo tunaomba sana serikali ya county na serikali kuu iweze kusaidia wamama na kuwa protect, kuwapatia security wenye wanasimama, waweze kuendesha sera zao, waweze kutafuta kura kwa amani, peaceful, bila
The aspirants present argued that more needs to be done by all stakeholders to ensure that women interested in vying for various political positions, especially in pastoralist communities, are not intimidated or coerced to drop their bids in favor of male politicians.
Wanaume ndio wamedominate kila mahali. Mpaka unakuta wakati saa zingine unaambiwa kama mama haufai kusimama kwa hii kiti, wanaume wanakuja na kongamano kubwa nyumbani, wanakuambia wewe toka, upatie mwanaume nafasi. So unakuta ya kuwa wewe ulikuwa na maono upate kusaidia watu wako, lakini kuna mtu anakuambia wewe songa. Na unaona ya kuwa jamii kwa wingi, kwa sababu ni watu ambao wako illiterate, wanakubaliana na hawa wanaume.
Ile demokrasia ile ambayo inatungwa na elders, wamama wengi hawaweki katika ile mikakati yao na wanaachwa nje, hata kama wangetaka kugombania viti kama vile MPs, governors na kuendelea hata rais, sasa wanafungwa nje. Kwa hivyo wamama wanaachwa on their own wakingangana, na unajua sasa kama wazee wameamua, mara mingi wamama wanafuata vile wazee wanasema.
Rose Oguba, an MCA aspirant for Laisamis ward in Marsabit County, lauded the move, saying that it would go a long way towards enlightening women politicians on various legal requirements that most pastoralist women are not aware of.
Tumejua kukuwa vigilant, that every time unaangalia ile vile kama umeregistiwa katika party, unasimama kabisa on your toes. Tumefunzwa vile ya kujitetea tukiwa wanawake, vile ya assert our positions, kujua position yetu ni wapi na vile tutapigania hizo positions.
The 14 pastoralist counties represented in the forum were Isiolo, Marsabit, Samburu, Laikipia, Baringo, Turkana, West Pokot, Elgeyo Marakwet, Kajiado, Narok, Wajir, Garissa, Mandera and Tana River. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I'm Wamboi Otiende.
The Iteso community is mourning the death of their king, Papa Iteso Emormor Esuban. The late king has been for the last 5 years ill and passed on at Mulago Hospital in Kampala. Papa Paul Sunday Emoloto has automatically taken over until elections are carried out in the next 6 months.
The Iteso community woke up to the news of the death of their king, Papa Iteso Emormor Esuban, last night. Emormor died at Mulago Hospital in Kampala, Uganda, after being sick for the past 5 years. A Addressing the community in Kampala, the caretaker King Paul Sunday urged the Iteso from within and the diaspora to be calm while arrangements for the final journey are underway at his home in Entebbe.
Papa's been sick for some time. Since 2016, he has been in and out from the hospital. So he has been battling his life for the last few days. So it is unfortunate that yesterday things happened the way it happened.
He dismissed claims that there was a vacuum in the leadership within the kingdom of the Iteso, noting that the constitution was very clear that the chairman ascends to the throne immediately.
The law gives us 6 months to prepare for the election of the next MR1. So I don't think there is any vacuum of power because the constitution is very clear. And I don't think there is any alarm.
The Iteso Cultural Union Constitution has mandated the chairman to chair the council plus the cabinet for the next 6 months before the king is elected. The Iteso kingdom spreads across Kenya, southern Sudan and Ethiopia, while in Uganda it's the second largest tribe. The kingdom is a non-political organization dealing with traditions and educating the youth about their great parents. The late King Papa Esuban Emormor hails from Serere outskirts of Soroti within eastern Uganda. Busia County Governor Sospita Ojamong is among leaders who have mourned the late king, hailing him for his efforts in raising up inter-clan connections.
Tunaomba sana Wateso wa Kenya na wa Uganda tafute tena mtu mwenye atatuunganisha, tukae tena kwa upendo, kwa sababu Osuban amekuwa akituunganisha sana na mara nyingi alikuwa anatupea advice namna ya kuishi kama jamii ya Wateso.
Nancy Okware, Lunchtime News.
Residents of Takwal Belt along the Pokot and Turkana borders have been displaced following a resurgence of banditry attacks and cattle rustling after 5 years of peaceful coexistence. Several villages are deserted and trading centers are closed as locals flee to safer places.
Speaking in a conference in Mogotio led by Christine Kandiye, they said the insecurity both in Laikipia and Baringo counties has caused immense suffering to the people living with disability, as they are the easy target when other people flee during attacks.
Due to challenges of insecurity or shortage of government officers and officers in the ground, many people cannot access their justice in the offices and also cannot get what they need in disability fraternity.
They noted that this has been attributed as 17 counties assembly did not consider people living with disabilities.
Tumejua ya kwamba wale waliochukua zile viti zetu si walemavu, na walichukua kwa niaba ya walemavu. Unaweza kiatu ambacho mwenye kufaa kiatu ndiye mwenye kujua mahali kinamfinya. Unawezaje kwenda kutetea mlemavu na wewe sio mlemavu?
During nominations in the past elections, the president of Indigenous Persons with Disability Global Network noted that disabled people are among the marginalized groups, and from the 17 counties, other people were considered in the nomination against the law provided in the constitution. Thus, no one champions for their rights during the sharing of national cake.
Why don't we have a position of person with disabilities being chosen by other Kenyans, the way we've been having women rep being elected by Kenyans? The reason why we are asking that is that it's going to promote accountability and transparency. As person with disability could account, we could seek some accountability from the leaders we elect as Kenyans.
We now cross over to the county of Mombasa, where His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta is this afternoon in the region. This hour, the president has just officially opened a conference that has brought together health stakeholders, this in support of UHC. And Junei Karisa, my colleague, is with the president. Junei, bring us up to speed with the developments this afternoon. This, as we understand, the president will be visiting various facilities in the region.
Muchuma, good afternoon. And today Mombasa is a busy city following the arrival of President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is here to reassure his commitment in realizing the Big 4 agenda in matters health. Right here where we are the Portrees grounds, where President Uhuru Kenyatta will arrive here any moment from now to come and officially roll out the universal health coverage across 47 counties. This is a milestone for Kenyans, as this journey began in 2018, December 2018. It was rolled out as a pilot phase across four counties in the country. Those success stories have made it possible for the government to ensure that Kenyans have access to quality, affordable healthcare across the country, right at their doorstep, without any financial constraint. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta has just left the White Sands Hotel, where he was officiating the International Health Work Conference that brings together 1,000 delegates drawn from 24 countries globally to just come and share their experiences in fighting the global pandemic. It is here that President Uhuru Kenyatta, of course, underscored the need of the government to realize the need of bringing healthcare right at the doorstep of Kenyans, as well as streamlining services so that Kenyans can have access to healthcare despite any financial any monies that they have. Another thing to note is that he has appreciated the efforts that have been put in place in public hospitals to ensure that the quality of healthcare has been boosted up. He noted that most public hospitals are now receiving referrals from private hospitals. That means that the quality healthcare has drastically improved amongst the public hospital. Now, this narrative and this momentous occasion right here at the Portrees grounds is to ensure that every Kenyan is registered mandatory, compulsory under the NHIF health insurance, so that they can be able to cater for the health needs. That means that it doesn't matter which disease you're suffering from. The government has pumped monies to ensure that you can be able to access quality healthcare. So we'll be expecting President Uhuru Kenyatta any moment from now. He is inspecting various dispensaries or level 2, level 3 hospitals before arriving in this particular venue, where he will be addressing this mammoth of the crowd that is waiting to hear his commitment delivered under the Big 4 agenda, that healthcare is right at your doorstep and it is affordable, and you cannot have any financial constraints when it comes to healthcare. So this is a momentous occasion. We will be giving you wall-to-wall coverage immediately after the lunchtime news, so stay tuned as we bring you this momentous occasion. Back to you, Irene Muchuma, in studio.
Thank you, Junei. Good to have you. And indeed, let us know when we should cross over live to the coastal region for the event that His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta is this afternoon presiding. Now, to other matters, as tension grows between the military rulers and international partners in Mali, the German military could be exiting the country. Germany has 1,200 troops deployed in Mali as part of a 9-year-old international counter-terrorism and peacekeeping mission in the Sahel states.
The skepticism comes after Germany's defense minister, Christine Lambrecht, gave an impression that German soldiers were no longer welcome in Mali, where they've been helping in the fight against jihadists. Lambrecht also noted that the relationship between France and its former colony was making the work harder for Germany. In December, 16 countries, mostly in Europe, condemned Mali's decision to work with private military contractors from the Russian Wagner Group. This role may drastically change the overall response to the jihadist threat in the Sahel region.
We are taking a short commercial break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.
Don't you think his obsession with Mariela is too much? It's not normal. How could you do this to my son?
It was an accident, Elena. I can't believe that you're still talking to him after everything he's done to you. I just said Mariela and I are together now. That is incredibly stupid.
What are you talking about, Leonardo?
I'm falling in love with Mariela.
You like her or not?
Yes, I like her. I'm attracted to her. Are you happy now?
Alonso is my boyfriend. And whatever you do, he will never be yours.
Lying heart.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Keep abreast of the developments live from the National Assembly and the Senate.
On our members of parliament.
The questions.
When is the construction expected to commence?
The motions.
Beg to give notice for the following motion.
The debate.
Will as many as want to say aye.
The statements.
A statement on an issue of general topical concern.
The petitions.
Order number 4, petitions.
Stay tuned to KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa for live proceedings from both houses of parliament from Tuesday to Thursday. Live, uncensored, unedited. KBC, your national broadcaster.
Thank you for staying with us. Continue interacting with us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Indeed, we'd like to hear from you. Now, the Street Children's Network for Nakuru Foundation is appealing for support to feed needy families in 4 low-income areas in Nakuru. The foundation provides food and beddings for children and the elderly and goes as far as educating needy children in the area.
Over 450 needy families in Nakuru benefit from the Street Children's Assistant Networks for Nakuru Foundation food drive in the slum areas of Ronda, Bondeni, Kivumbini, and Kaptembwa. The chairperson of the foundation, Shamshi Gilani, said that the foundation is struggling to meet the needs of the families whose income have reduced following the aftermath of the COVID pandemic. He cited lack of food as a contributing factor to the increasing rate of school dropouts in the area.
We are a street children organization, and our mandate is to pick up street children from the streets and give them housing, shelter, food, clothing, and healthcare, and most importantly, we give our children education.
Beneficiaries are calling for an expansion of the program so as to reach the hundreds of people who struggle to fend for themselves. Aisha Haji, a beneficiary, comes to the foundation every evening with her daughters as she cannot afford to provide basic needs.
Nauza sabuni Kaptembwa primary. Hata nimeshukuru sababu ya nini? Ya blanketi. Ndaenda kujifunika. Mungu ape nyinyi baraka.
The foundation is in dire need of support from well-wishers so as to assist more needy people.
All right, time for us to do business, public and private investors have pumped more than 2.3 trillion shillings in affordable housing projects in the country. Housing Principal Secretary Charles Hinga says the projects have managed to deliver more than 200,000 units in the last 5 years. Hinga spoke during the inspection of the Bondeni affordable housing project in Nakuru County, where over 600 units are expected to be complete by December this year.
According to the State Department of Housing, an analysis of registered projects by the National Construction Authority between 2017 and October 2021 shows that there are 269 housing projects spread in different parts of the country. The projects are at different stages of completion. According to the Ministry of Housing data, these projects have a cumulative contract sum amounting to 2.3 trillion shillings. Speaking in Nakuru, Housing Principal Secretary Charles Hinga pointed out at the Bondeni Affordable Housing Project as a good example of the public-private partnership agreement.
Even whatever you are, whatever position you do, if you can manage to pay the deposit and you pay the rest slowly over a long period of time, these houses will be manageable for you.
They need something called tenant purchase scheme. Tenant purchase scheme. So ile rent wanalipa hapa hivi ndio tunataka waendelee kulipa. Yeah, but now living in those decent houses tumeona hapa because these houses are for everybody.
In the deal, the private investor was in charge of funding, while the government provided a 7.5-acre piece of land formerly occupied by municipal houses to make the new units affordable.
King Sapphire and the State Department of Housing have worked tirelessly to ensure that all the blocks are off the ground and in line to be delivered as promised.
The PS further revealed that the Civil Servants Housing Scheme, which facilitates civil servants to access housing, has purchased 20% of the units. The 30-month project is set to be completed by December 2023 and will have 45 one-bedroom units, each at 1.55 million shillings, 182 bedroom units, each at 3.15 million shillings, and 383 bedroom units at 4.25 million shillings each. Alanauko, Lunchtime News.
Kenyans are being encouraged to embrace the rent-to-own housing model as an option of owning houses of their choice. The model mainly targets the working class, some of who retire without having built a house to retire to. Here now is Channel 1's Teresa Mutai with the details.
Data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics indicate that only 23.1% of urban dwellers own a house. The pensions coverage in Kenya is about 20% of the country's current working population, which is estimated at about 23 million. The new Pensions Act allows members of pension schemes to access up to 40% of their pensions to own houses or 60% of their pension savings as mortgage security. However, most of the working class retire without having constructed a decent house. Real estate firm Finsco Consulting Africa Chief Executive John Mwaura is encouraging the working class or those with income to embrace rent-to-own housing model as an option to own a house of their choice.
Rent-to-own, I mean the house that you are renting today, the same amount of rent that you are using, you can pay the same amount to own a house. Let me try to make it to simplify it for you. Assuming you are paying a rent of, let's say 20,000 shilling. In a whole year, you have paid 240,000. If you give yourself a span of only 20 years, that is almost 4.8 million shilling. That money is enough for you to own a house.
Finsco Consulting Africa with their partner Harry Homes are constructing 4,000 units on a 17-acre piece of land in Ruiru, Kiambu County.
We are saying you have that plot in a very strategic location, and that is where you want to do your home. And you have that copy of the title. We are asking you, we have several typologies of the houses. Then we show you this house will cost you this much.
Data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics show that 9% of Kenyan households, comprising about 15 million people, live in urban areas. The data indicates that 91% of those living in Nairobi are tenants. Reporting for Lunchtime News, I am Teresa Mtai.
Across the borders, an oil storage vessel that exploded off the coast of Nigeria this week was holding around 50,000 to 60,000 barrels of crude oil at the time of the incident. Nigeria's Sheba Exploration and Production Company Limited said that flames had engulfed the Trinity Spirit floating production, storage and offloading vessel following a blast a day earlier. Here now are the details and other stories making headlines around the continent.
National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency has called the oil industry operators and the Clean Nigeria Associates a cooperative responding to oil spill incidences for support. SEPCOL says it was working with authorities to inspect the vessel after the fire burnt out, and an investigation team has been launched to establish the cause of the explosion. It reported no casualties and is investigating the whereabouts of safety of 10 crew members who were on board the vessel prior to the incident, SEPCOL said in a statement. A team of the government investigators toured the site of the incident on Saturday but did not provide any comment. An industry source with knowledge of operations of Trinity Spirit FPSO said that until 5 years ago, other companies, including large oil traders, stored their crude on the vessel, which had the capacity to produce 22,000 barrels per day and could store 2 million barrels. Meanwhile, Morocco is in talks with Spanish and other gas traders to secure medium-term supply deals as it seeks to decarbonize its economy, Energy Minister Leila Benali said. Morocco relied for much of its gas needs, or about 1 billion cubic meters annually, on a pipeline that used to channel Algerian gas to Spain until it was halted last October by Algiers. Morocco tendered in March for its own floating storage and regasification unit and picked the Atlantic Mohammedian port as a site. The share of renewables in installed capacity had grown to 45% last year and was expected to exceed 52% by 2025, with plans to install 10 gigawatts capacity of renewable energy in the next few years, she said. Finally, South Africans will soon have to pay more for electricity. Although if approved, the price increase will likely secure South Africa's position at the top of the table of Southern African electricity prices. According to Valve's data compiled in June last year, South Africa's average electricity price is 2.558 rand per kilowatts. This is about 45 C more than the global average of 2.109 rand per kilowatts.
And around the world, Toshiba Corporation is aiming to break up into two companies, comprising one to deal with infrastructure and the other one focused on devices. The company has also unveiled a big boost to planned shareholder returns in an effort to appease angry investors. Here now are the details of this and other stories making headlines across the globe.
Toshiba once was one of Japan's most revered brands but has been struggling since the Fukushima nuclear disaster in March 2011. A tsunami sent 3 reactors into meltdowns, spewing radiation over an area that's still partly a no-go zone. Toshiba is involved in the decommissioning effort, which will take decades. The company intends to increase shareholder returns to 300 billion yen over the next 2 years, which compares to an earlier target for returns of 100 billion yen. The new restructuring plan is said to be simpler, as it will save costs and make it easier for alliances with strategic partners to be pursued. It will sell almost all of its 60% stake in its air conditioning unit to its U.S. joint venture partner Carrier Global Corp for $870 million. SMEs in China have maintained a steady growth in their production and operation. SMEs with a turnover exceeding 20 million yen per annum saw year-on-year increase of 19.9% in operating income and 25.6% in total profit. The operating income and total profit saw an average 2-year growth rate of 9.9% and 16.8% respectively, 5.8 and 15.4 percentage points higher than the growth rate of the same period previously. Also, the electricity consumption of China's small and micro enterprises has increased by 7.6%. Finally, German car maker Mercedes-Benz and its Korean unit has been fined by South Korea's antitrust regulator. This is due to false advertising tied to gas emissions of its diesel passenger vehicles, the fine worth 20.2 billion won. The Korea Fair Trade Commission said Mercedes had tampered with pollution mitigation devices by installing illegal software in its vehicles, making them perform at lower levels in ordinary driving conditions than during certification tests. A total of 15 Mercedes models had such software installed in them.
The mayor of Canada's capital, Ottawa, has declared a state of emergency in response to more than a week of truckers' protests against COVID restrictions. Jim Watson said the city was completely out of control, with demonstrators outnumbering police.
Watson said the protest posed a threat to resident safety and that Ottawa's centre has been paralysed, with vehicles and tents blocking the roads. The Freedom Convoy was sparked by the introduction last month of a new rule that all truckers must be vaccinated to cross the US-Canada border, but the protests have moved into broader challenges to COVID health restrictions. Watson said the protesters were behaving increasingly insensitively by continuously blaring horns and sirens, setting off fireworks and turning it into a party. A state of emergency will give the city additional powers, including access to equipment required by the frontline workers and emergency services. Police have said they are concerned about how the convoy has attracted far-right and extremist elements, and on Sunday confirmed they were dealing with more than 60 criminal investigations with alleged offences including mischief, thefts, hate crimes and property damage.
Time for Channel 1 Sports News. The Kenya practical shooting team is gearing up for the Level 3 shooting competition to be held over the next 2 days in Polokwane City, South Africa. This is after completing the first 8-stage competition over the weekend.
The Kenya practical shooting team arrived safely in South Africa on Saturday and competed in the first 8-stage competition in preparation for the Level 3 Nations competition, which will be shot for 2 days and will involve 18 stages in Polokwane. The team participated in their first Level 2 match on Sunday at Ganswak Range in Johannesburg. The second group of the Kenya team will join the first group this week. The first group comprised of 7 officers from the DCI and HSC. The teams are competing in the event, courtesy of the Government of Kenya and the Kenya Sports Shooting Federation.
Children between the ages of 10 and 18 will benefit from free rugby training from the non-governmental organization We Make Impact. The project, which is expected to be completed by the end of this year, will benefit children from slums of Mathare, Kibera and Korogosho.
We Make Impact has launched the Impact Rugby, which is geared towards nurturing the next generation of vibrant rugby players. The tryouts for the program will run out throughout this month in Kibera and Mathare slums.
We've run many empowerment programs with the same technology around Kenya, and traditionally we've done it for remote communities, people who don't have access to good schooling or don't have access to the internet, and so we provide them those things to help break them out of the poverty cycle.
Ukiangalia, many kids maybe want to play rugby, but the thing is that hinders them from that. They don't have a chance maybe to get jobs elsewhere. That's why we came up with a tech part. So we get kids to learn computer skills, help them also on the health and wellness side.
150 children aged between 10 to 18 years will be enrolled.
On our expectations, we have a lot of expectation on our kids. as we have so many kids who have been in our programs that are now playing rugby at a higher level. We have some kids in the national team.
It's really heartwarming to see the enthusiasm here today over these programs. The kids are very excited. It's clear for the sports, and this program, I think, is a perfect combination of the healthy body and the healthy mind.
Frederick Muki for Channel 1 Sports.
Now we cross over to the county of Mombasa. Junaid Karisa says His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta is already on the ground. Remember, earlier on we mentioned that President Uhuru Kenyatta has this hour launched a health conference that has brought together health stakeholders, this in support of UHC, and the president has been at the fore to ensure that we talk about NHIF to every man in the country. And this is to ensure that even the common man has NHIF. Earlier on, late last year, the members of parliament were able to pass a bill that allows employers take care of certain funds for the NHIF for their staff, and that if you are contributing around 500,000 shillings, your employer should also be able to contribute for you a certain amount of money. This in support of NHIF and also making medical services accessible for every common man. And those pictures coming to you live from the county of Mombasa. We can see His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta already in the county of Mombasa, and he is at the Coast General Hospital, when it is from there that he'll be going to open a facility that is a branch of the Coast General Hospital. This is perhaps to ease congestion at the Coast General Hospital and allow more citizens, especially those at the coastal region, be able to access medical services easily. And those pictures coming to you live from the county of Mombasa. Remember, it is one of the biggest cities here in the country, with high number of Kenyans residing down at the coast. It's also one of the country's tourism hub, and continue to receive huge number of tourists from across the borders. And this afternoon, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta will be looking at efforts of improving health services down at the coastal region. There have been concerns across the board, right from political leaders and also a common man, saying that healthcare is expensive in the country, and especially when it comes to certain diseases such as cancer. We have had a number of incidents where people raise concern that the government should come up with a way of easing the cost of medical care. They don't have to do harambes or strain in raising certain funds to travel across the borders to get treatment, which can equally be acquired here in the home country, only that at times they tend to believe, or it happens that it's more expensive here in the home country than across the borders. Now, these options are ones that the government said that we'll be looking at, even as members of parliament passed the bill in August last year to favor and ensure each and every Kenyan has an NHIF, and say that if a Kenyan is not able to raise certain funds, the employer should be able to raise a certain amount in order to ensure he or she acquires the medical services in time. And His Excellency is doing a tour at the Coast General Teaching and Referral Hospital, and they're looking at the outreach strategy that is going to be in effect right after his visit at the coastal part of the country this afternoon. It is one of the big four agendas, and when he came to power, he said he will ensure that each and every Kenyan is able to get quality healthcare. And this we're yet to see. Few months to the next general election, and he will be exiting office after doing 2 terms, and Kenyans will also be looking at the next leader to also prioritize health concerns in order to ensure each and every family is able to afford medical services at certain fee. And NHIF was given a priority, as Kenyans said, that it should be able to get care for medical services for every Kenyan. And entertainment continues down at the coastal region. This as we expect His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta to make his remarks. And Junei said His Excellency will be at the coast for quite some time. We are yet to see what more he has for residents at the coastal region, and also those who will be visiting the coastal parts of Mombasa. But we will be going back there live later on in this bulletin. Let's get back to sports matters. And Nyali Golf and Countries Club Saj Shah carded a round of 40 points to win the Chairman's Prize tournament presented by Konza Technopolis, beating a field of 247 participating golfers playing off handicap 22. Shah earned an impressive 21 points in the first 9 and 19 points in the second 9 to record his second win in 2 years, having won the club's captain's overall winner in January 2021 with 48 points.
Playing in the competition's Stableford format, the past 71 home club, Epapra Lagat, playing off handicap 22, carded 20 points in both the first and second 9s to emerge the men's winner ahead of Zafir Dean, who scored 22 points in the first 9 and 18 points in the second 9s to emerge the men's runners-up.
We are reaching out to the business community across the country to show them the opportunities we have at Konza Technopolis so that Kenyans can be part of this great story that's coming out of Konza Technopolis. We have various opportunities for the business community, including being part of the building community.
In the ladies category, Nyali's lady captain Mary Kandu, playing off handicap 14, carded 39 points, claimed the first spot, 2 points ahead of her nearest challenger Trufena Oyaro, who finished second. Meanwhile, the 10-year-old Iyaz Ishaq, playing off handicap 19, hit an impressive score of 38 points on the course to emerge the best junior of the Taib Bajabar Chairman's Prize. Frederick Muki for Channel 1 Sports.
Now, over 200 young footballers in Mombasa County benefited from a one-day training conducted by German coaches. The footballers were taken through various aspects on how to maximize their potential. The seminar, which was organized by Mombasa County Football Association and was led by German UEFA licensed coaches Bernard Payet and Thomas Musa.
Sisi kama viongozi wa mpira tunaamini kwamba talent iko, na naamini kwamba sio Mombasa ama peke yake. Tunaamini pembe yote ya Kenya kuna talent ambayo tunataka sisi kama viongozi tuhakikishe kwamba tunashirikiana na watu kama hawa na wengine ambao tutawaleta karibuni, ili kuhakikisha kwamba talent hii tunaikuza na tunaweza pia kuidevelop na ile pia kuboresha timu yetu ya taifa.
We have founded a refugees football team in Germany, and actually that was the connection here to Kenya, because we started a friendship with Good Hope Soccer Academy here in Mombasa. We started to support them throughout the pandemic, and but was not enough for us. We wanted to see them on the ground. And also we wanted to contribute to the difficult situation here. So now we're second time here.
Senegal's President Macky Sall declared Monday a public holiday to celebrate the national football team's first ever African Cup of Nations crown following their victory against Egypt. Sadio Mane netted the winning sport kick as Senegal beat Egypt 4-2 on penalties.
The Liverpool forward had earlier seen a 7-minute penalty saved by the Pharaohs goalkeeper Gabaski.